to hear the glories of Krishna, to chant the holy names of Krishna together, and to develop very close friendships, relationships with each other through humble servitude toward each other, so that we can really purify ourselves and purify the world as we chant Hare Krishna together. We're making advancement in Krishna consciousness to the extent we find that we really want to be the servant of everyone. To the extent you want to be served, it means you're without Krishna. To the extent you want to be praised, you are spiritually weak. To the degree you are enthusiastic to praise other Vaishnavas, that is a sign that Krishna is with you, and he's very pleased with you. So when there are 3,200 people living in close quarters, sometimes overcrowded quarters and everything like that, the tendency is we may get disturbed, we may get annoyed, things are just out of our control sometimes. That's very healthy. To analyze our own hearts and respond. What does it mean to be the servant of everyone? Someone else's happiness is more important than mine. Someone else's comfort is more important than mine. Someone else's being inspired and enthused is more important than me. In giving, we receive. Relationships of love and trust can only be to the extent that each and every one of us takes the responsibility of being a selfless servant. It's about selfless service. Now, in the world today, very, very educated, influential people within society, they cannot tolerate this idea of selfless service. Humility, a little sprinkled in, makes a person attractive. But too much, it's demeaning. People are concerned about me, I, and mine. It's the I generation, according to psychiatrists and psychologists. It's about feeling good about ourselves. That will make you happy. But there's a problem. How could you feel good about yourself if you don't know who you are? It's all based on illusion. I feel good about myself. I look pretty. I look handsome. But that beauty is going to wither away by the power of time. Srila Prabhupada, quoting Krishna, attacked the misconception of the bodily concept of life from the very onset. It's the cause of all suffering, it's the cause of all illusion and bondage. This feeling good about yourself is useless spiritually if you don't know who you are. We are the eternal soul. To feel good about yourself means I'm the eternal servant of the servant of the servant of the servants, Anu, the insignificant, tiny little servant of the servant of the servant of all other servants of Krishna. That's the state that we can actually really feel good about ourselves, because that's who we are. Yanisha sarvabhutanam. Krishna tells us that what is daytime for the conditioned soul is night for the devotee, and what is daytime for the devotee is night for the conditioned soul. Their values are very different. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells about that banyan tree on the bank of the lake. What is the highest point of the tree is the lowest point in the reflection. It's very opposite. We should not be swayed by these misconceptions. Devotees should encourage one another. Devotees should appreciate one another. Devotees should give value to one another. That is our service to one another. To receive it, we should be grateful and humbled. But more important for us than receiving it is to give it. Srila Prabhupada made every devotee feel so totally valuable. There are many stories. Some devotees would distribute hundreds of books a day. Some devotees had large communities developing buildings and projects worth hundreds and thousands of dollars. Some devotees were managing and leading countries. Prabhupada gave them a tremendous amount of encouragement and really appreciated what they did. But a mother who had a baby, someone who just picked a flower and offered it to him, he would also give them the same type of encouragement and feel that I'm very important in this Krishna consciousness movement. And when Srila Prabhupada did that with everyone, he was showing us how we should deal with each other. Prabhupada would make the person making Charanamrit feel like they were so important. Someone milking the cows, he would come and make them feel like they're just so important. He had that magic to make everyone feel so important in Krishna's service. But it didn't make us proud. It made us grateful. It made us want to do more. You see, devotees make advancement when they become more and more enthusiastic to serve to a greater degree with their body, mind, words, and life. And when we encourage each other, when we make each other feel that our service is valuable, we help devotees to be more enthused. That is a great service. It is essential service. This is very much a part of what it means to serve the Vaishnavas. This subject matter is so important to hear again and again, because we come to this material world because we're thinking in terms of I and mine. I want to be the master. And we remain in this world as long as we want to remain the master. In our Krishna consciousness is hollow and superficial as long as we want to be the master. So we come here every year to Pune to hear about and to develop a real service attitude. A service attitude wherein we understand how much we need each other. A friend in need is a friend indeed. It's so beautiful to see devotees who have been for many years, who develop very deep, real, loving relationships with each other. Within the brahmachari ashram, among the grihastas, the men, the ladies. They're there for each other. That is Vaishnava society. So let us strive to activate these principles in our lives. That is where we will find Krishna. That is where we will actually find the heart of the spiritual master and all the previous acharyas. In our humble, sincere, enthusiastic service attitude. In our loving relationships with Vaishnavas, centered around devotional service. And that is where we will find Krishna manifesting. When we chant our japa and when we perform together kirtan of the holy names. I sincerely offer my deepest gratitude to Krishna Chandra Prabhu, Radha Priya, Mataji, and their family, and all the devotees who have participated by doing big things or small things to make this wonderful event possible. When I look out to see all of these devotees, I feel like I'm in the Mayapur Yatra again. It's very beautiful. While here, we have certain rules that we should impose on ourselves. First, no prajalpa. Does everyone know what is prajalpa? I think we all have a lot of experience and realization on the subject. Prajalpa means speaking sound vibrations that do not help one another to advance in Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada says that real silence is to only speak that which is pleasing to Krishna. So let us very much follow this principle. Ideally, every day of your life, for the rest of eternity. But we want to establish that principle very strong during this Pune Yatra. It's not that I'll struggle and restrain this prajalpa for the Pune Yatra, and then Sunday afternoon, we just let it pour out. Better like that than not at all. But the idea is we want to restrain it and replace it. Tani sarvani samyamya yukta asita matpara. Krishna says in Gita, we must restrain the senses and fix the mind on Krishna. And let us not waste any time. We only have about 4 days. Let us just absorb as much spiritual energy in these 4 days as possible. Recharge our consciousness very intensely by absorbing our hearts in Vaishnava relationships, service to the Vaishnavas, Hari Katha and Hari Kirtan, and Prasad Seva. When we're honoring Prasad, it's actually a reciprocation. Devotees have worked so hard to prepare this Prasad. It's offered to Krishna. Devotees have made the offering. When devotees cook, it's for the pleasure of the Vaishnavas. And when you cook for the pleasure of the Vaishnavas, when you offer it to Krishna, he really, really enjoys it. Yes. It is said, Sachi Mata, she would offer everything to Krishna, but everything she cooked was sweeter than nectar. There was so much love and so much devotion in it. In Pandharpur, Sri Rangapuri told Lord Chaitanya that she served every sadhu like her own son. She was the mother of the universe. Anybody that came to her house, she would cook for them like she cooked for her own son Nimai. Can you imagine that love? And when that was offered to the deities, how much Krishna put his full potency of his mercy in that bhoga? So when you're eating prasad, by eating it, by enjoying it, you're actually reciprocating with Krishna who put his mercy into it, and with all the Vaishnavas who have put so much of their love into it. And we make such great spiritual advancement. Now, if you work really hard to give someone prasad and they don't like it, are you happy? The idea is you're trying to please the Vaishnavas. So Srila Prabhupada said we should enjoy prasad. But the real way of enjoying prasad is we're enjoying to reciprocate with the love of those who cooked it and with Krishna who bestowed his mercy in it. When Krishna sees we're enjoying taking his mercy, and the Vaishnavas see we're enjoying taking their love, they enjoy. So really, taking prasad in an assembly like this, it's a meditation on reciprocating love. It is Rupa Goswami tells 6 loving exchanges. One is giving prasad, and the other is eating prasad. Yes. Those who are making the prasad, all these hundreds of devotees are making prasad every day here at Pune. They're doing it for you. And they're enjoying doing it for you. They're blissful. I can guarantee, talk to those big business people and ask them if they're enjoying more counting all their lakhs of rupees in the office or counting the peas when they're taking them out of the pods. They're blissful. They're serving Vaishnavas. They're enjoying serving you. And their enjoyment is not for their own enjoyment. They're enjoying naturally. It comes spontaneously because they're serving the Vaishnavas. It's blissful. They're serving the Vaishnavas with the Vaishnavas. That's a loving exchange, Rupa Goswami says. And when we accept it and we reciprocate by appreciating what they've done for us and enjoying the prasad because it's coming from Krishna, it's coming from the Vaishnava's love, that's a loving exchange. And to reveal each other's hearts, to develop deeper relationships centered around Krishna. That's what Rupa Goswami is talking about. Not just dumping all the garbage in your mind on someone, but revealing your mind to get help from someone or to give help to someone, to develop deeper, real spiritual relationships through the process of speaking and hearing. And giving gifts and receiving gifts. The gift may come in many forms. Maybe a flower, maybe a garland, maybe some material, apparently material gift that is spiritualized because we're giving it to someone to help them in their devotional service. To inspire, to encourage someone. But the greatest gift, the greatest of all gifts that we can give to each other is to serve by being a good example, to help inspire someone. And if we are inspired by that person who's trying to inspire us, that's a loving exchange. If we are encouraged by that person who's trying to encourage us, that's a loving exchange. So really, if we follow these principles of Rupa Goswami, it's all nothing but happiness. Reciprocating with devotees through these 6 forms, it's happiness in giving, it's happiness in receiving. But receiving is giving, and giving is receiving. And receiving is giving. I don't know if that makes sense. But it's all in a spirit of servitude. It's all in a spirit of reciprocation. It's all in a spirit of giving love. When we take the gift, we're giving love by how we take it. When we give the gift, we're giving love by how we give it. And what is love? Sharing Krishna. Inspiring each other to love Krishna. Please have a wonderful, happy Pune Yatra. It is all by the mercy of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who gave us this philosophy, gave us this culture, gave us the grace of Sri Sri Radha Krishna, the Panchatattva, all the acharyas in our parampara, their loving mercy. He's distributing it all to us, full-fledged, unconditionally. And to the extent we're grateful to him, and show our gratitude by sharing this with each other, we will individually and collectively prosper in our Krishna consciousness and taste the sweet, unlimited nectar of the holy name. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Of many special guests who we will welcome tomorrow. Actually, everyone is a special guest, except me. Everyone is a special guest. Some persons, because of some special position, Prabhupada disciple, or like that, we will give special honors to. But actually, each and every person here is a special guest. And we'd like to welcome each and every one of you with garlands and chandan and speak your glories. But 3,200 people, I don't know how that would work. But from my heart of hearts, I want to welcome each and every one of you. And I thank you so much for being here. We have with us His Holiness Chandramauli Swami Maharaj. He's very much a part of the family of our devotees here in India. He comes more than anyone else. He's very steadfast, renounced, humble, and completely dedicated to Srila Prabhupada and to the principles of bhakti. He's also one of my very oldest friends in Krishna consciousness. We have been serving together directly or indirectly since 1973. How many years is that? 35. It is our 35th anniversary. And I've never seen anything but sincere, selfless endeavors for devotional service in his life every day. He loves devotees. He loves to see devotees make spiritual progress. That is a sign of a real Vaishnava. When we find ecstasy in others making advancement. When we feel ecstasy in seeing others getting mercy. Common people are envious. But Vaishnava really, in a true sense, means without envy. Really being a servant. Chandramauli Maharaj very much exemplifies these holy principles. Let us very enthusiastically welcome him. And we have Mahamuni Prabhu, who is one of my very dearest friends. I just always so happy to be with him. His love for Srila Prabhupada, his commitment to Krishna consciousness is as big as he is, and much more. How he came to Krishna consciousness is an amazing story. He was in the US Army during the Vietnam War, in the front lines of combat, and he was a commander of a whole troop or platoon of soldiers. Hare Krishna. And he came back after serving his time in the army during war. Horrible situation. That war, seeing people dying, seeing people getting their limbs blown off, seeing people become totally depressed and psychiatrically insane, seeing people under the stress become drug addicts. That's what military is like. He came back, and practically within days of coming home, he was in the Hare Krishna temple. Came back and found out some of his friends were, where are they? He heard about Krishna from them. And almost immediately, he was made temple commander. And I've told this story before, but I'll tell it again. When Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj was in his last days, last weeks, let us say, Mahamuni Prabhu was there at Gita Nagari. And Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, he was remembering how for some time Mahamuni Prabhu was his temple commander when he was a new devotee. And Mahamuni Prabhu was quite a strict temple commander. He had military training that he was dovetailing in devotional service. Always very kind, compassionate, loving to devotees, but he expressed that love by his being the commander. And Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, who was so thin and frail, and I can't explain. He was in his last stages of cancer. He just lift something and his bone would break. He was very frail. He was remembering Mahamuni Prabhu, and he said, when you were my temple commander, he said, you were very strict. He said, I want to punch you in the jaw. Yes. And Mahamuni Prabhu said, do it, Maharaj, punch me in the jaw. He said, I will punch you in the jaw. He said it a couple times. One night, I was with Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, as I was every afternoon. And when I was leaving, Agnihotra Devi Dasi, she prepared soul food for Maharaj. Now in India, you don't know what soul food is. But I'm not going to explain it too much. Essentially, it's prasad. But it's a certain culture of prasad. And she was explaining everything on the menu. And the thing that really attracted me was barbecued curd steaks in hickory sauce. Hickory flavored sauce. Yeah, like that. So I went to give a lecture at the temple, and I came back, And she put in my van the remnants of Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, of all this soul food, prasad. It was his Maha Prasad. And as we're driving, I was driving, Mahamuni Prabhu, I was his chauffeur. And we're driving, and he said, "What is that smell?" And I said, "That's barbecued curd steaks with hickory sauce." It's Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj's Maha Prasad. So we got back to the house we're staying, Yadunandan Prabhu and Taruni Prabhu, and we had the prasad. And then we went to take rest in the same room. And the next morning I got up. I was supposed to give class in the temple that morning. And when I got up, I saw Mahamuni Prabhu just sitting in the corner. Just his face was red. He was holding his jaw, and he was just moaning in pain. Oh. So what happened? And he said, "He did it." I said, "Who did what?" He said, "He did it, he did it." I said, "Who did what?" He said, "Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj. He punched me in the jaw." He said, his Maha Prasad, the hickory sauce, it went into some bridge in his teeth or something, right? It went.
Actually, knocked the tooth out of the bone.
The hickory sauce seeped into his gum and knocked the tooth out of the bone. His face was swollen. He said, his Maha Prasad, he said he would punch me in the jaw, and through his Maha Prasad, he did it. And he was suffering. And half of my heart was really in pain to see him in such suffering. And half of my heart was in ecstasy. Just to witness the power of Mahaprasad. So he said, "I can't go to the temple. I'm in too much pain. I didn't sleep last night." He was suffering all night long. So I went and gave class. And at the summit of the class, I told that story. And everyone they really liked that story. Because they were all Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj's disciples. So hearing the power of his Maha Prasad really enlivened their hearts. So after class, sometime a little later, Mahamuni Prabhu came to the temple, and he will tell you what happened when he came to the temple.
Oh, you want me to tell now?
Yes, you can tell them.
Hare Krishna. As I came to the temple, I didn't know Maharaj had told this story about the power of Mahaprasad. And so many devotees were greeting me. "Oh, Haribo! Haribo! How's your jaw?" I go, "What?" I had no idea what they were talking about. I didn't know that they knew that my jaw was all messed up. And I go, "How did you know?" He said, "Maharaj told in the class. The power of Mahaprasad." And so they continue. And even obscure devotees, they'd come down out of the ashram, like mothers I didn't even know. They go, "Oh, Haribo, look at your jaw. How's your jaw?" And they all greeted me the same way, laughing. No compassion. Just laughing that Maharaj had given me the Shakti. Actually, later I went to Maharaj and I begged. I had to go. Can I tell this part? I had to go to the dentist. I had to leave the Gita Nagari farm, go to the dentist. I thought it was some sauce had gotten under my bridge. You know, I had a bridge there. I went to the dentist and they took the x-ray and they said, no, the tooth is knocked completely out of the bone somehow. And they had to cut the bridge off and take this whole thing. The tooth just came right out. It was already out of the jaw. And the whole thing was, they had to just take it out. Now I have a space there. And when I went back to the temple, I went to Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj and I bowed down to him and I said, Maharaj, you know, you're lying down here, you're way too powerful to make those kind of jokes, you know? And he laughed and he said, I know, I'm sorry. And then I was thinking, I don't think that was a joke. I think he really wanted to punch me in the jaw. He said, I always wanted to beat up Mahamuni, you know? But he was too big, so I knew he would come back and beat me up. So then he tried to punch me in the jaw. But he knew his Shakti was there. I think he knew, he sent me that. And he was like, okay, I know, I'm sorry. So very powerful.
Devotees are paradukkha dukhi. They're always happy to see another devotee suffer. In some instances. But before Mahamuni Prabhu came to see Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, I told Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj what happened. And he smiled, and he raised his little fist, and he said, I told you I would punch him in the jaw. He wasn't even surprised at all when I Let us very enthusiastically welcome Mahamuni Prabhu. And we also have His Grace Soma Prabhu, Soma Das Prabhu. He came to Krishna consciousness in 69, 70? 69, 70? 1970. He joined this movement in Boston and wonderful, wonderful devotee. He's remained faithful in Srila Prabhupada's service throughout the years. And some of his wonderful contributions, he personally carved the deity of Lord Narasimhadev at New Vrindavan. In Jai and Vijay, and he helped as a carpenter, to build so many of the temples, guest house. Sitaram, Lakshman, Hanuman he carved that are now at Tawako, New Jersey. Which other deities? Also elephants and cows, big beautiful, in the gardens of New Vrindavan. But Soma Prabhu, very humble, very sincere, very genuine. And we're so grateful that he is here. He's also an excellent mridanga player. And we were serving together since about 1972. Yes? Since 1972. In fact, have you ever heard the story of how I was a pujari for about 7 years at the Brahmachari ashram of Radha Vrindavanath? Well, in the end of 73, beginning of 74, the brahmacharis were sent up to this original New Vrindavan, which was a mountain 3 miles through mud road on the top of a hill, very isolated, very primitive life. And there was deities of Radha Vrindavanath. And when we first went up there, I was in charge of the cows. Gargarishi Prabhu was in charge of cooking, and Soma Prabhu was the head pujari. Yes?